Fish sandwich. A valuable fish sandwich. Some of you like fish sandwich. I know you heard sandwich, but a valuable fish sandwich. I need our youth. I need you all to just pay attention to the screen for a moment. If you could just stand, all of our youth. If you're in the sanctuary here, all youth, please stand. All young people, please stand. I know all of you will stand if I say all young people, but if you could just, all of our youth, please stand. And I'd like you to look at the screen. There will be a picture coming up in a second. And I want you to look at that picture real good. It's going to be something that you might know about. What does that look like to you all? What kind of sandwich does that look like? Does anyone know? It's pretty clear to me, but I'm just curious. What does that look like? A fish sandwich. Who likes fish? Now, you like fish sandwich? Not that one, right? That's be nice, Professor. I see. That's a fish sandwich. Let's see the next picture. What kind of sandwich is this? A burger? What's on that burger there? It's like some cheese and some lettuce, some onions, some pickles on the side, a little tomato on the corner. Even got some French fries with it. Ooh, my. I know y'all gonna tell me Herb and finish the sermon now. I know that now. What's the third picture? Let's see this third image. What kind of sandwich is this?
BLT, right?
What kind?
BLT.
What's a BLT?
Bacon, lettuce, tomato.
Oh, I know what y'all do. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. Oh, doesn't that look pretty good? Nope. You don't like bacon, lettuce, tomatoes? No? Oh. What's that? Who likes bacon, lettuce, tomatoes? All right. So now, of the three pictures that you saw, if you like this picture, raise your hand the best. If you like this one the best, raise your hand. BLT. Okay, you put your hands down. If you like the hamburger, raise your hand. Okay. If you like the fish sandwich, raise your hand. Somebody said not that one, right? But that's a real fish now. That's you can have it, Reverend. All right. Okay, so what is wrong with this fish sandwich? What's that?
It has the fish in it.
It has a fish in it? I thought it was supposed to be a fish sandwich. What's that?
You gotta cook it first.
Oh, in the skin, so it's not cooked. It's not cooked for you? It could be cooked. It's what? It looks raw?
Yeah.
Looks raw, okay. So you all wouldn't like this fish sandwich?
No.
All right. So who won? The hamburger?
Hamburger.
Or the BLT?
Hamburger.
The hamburger, all right. All right, so let's praise God for the hamburgers. All right. You can be seated. I'm just going to talk to you for a few minutes. There's a reason why I had you look at these images. I think it's very interesting that you didn't like that fish sandwich. But my assignment today is to tell you about the value of the fish sandwich. So let's just look at this text for a minute in John chapter 6. Now you all should be taking notes, and we have the points for you today. Someone said, "Oh, great." But I still want you to take notes, and so pay attention to what we're doing. In this 6th chapter, and I'm just going to summarize this just to help us to move forward with this and to take in the points and digest this. In summary, Jesus feeds 5,000 plus people with a fish sandwich. I'm saying a fish sandwich, but it's bread and some fish. How many loaves of bread? 5. How many fish? 2. And he feeds over 5,000. The Bible says 5,000 men plus women and children. So it's over 5,000. And so let's look at that first, verse 5. Let's look at that in chapter 6, verse 5. It says, when Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, He saith unto Philip, whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? I want to just make an observation about this. It says, when Jesus then lifted up his eyes. Now keep in mind, Jesus has just finished serving. Of course, he's always on the go, and he's trying to make his point, and he's making it, but of course, a lot of people didn't receive it. And so he shares, and he is now, if you were reading, you'll look in verses 1 through 3, it talks about him coming to Galilee, over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias, and a great multitude followed him. Because you see, whenever you perform miracles and do things that are very special, people will follow you. It's just like if you pulled out $1 million right now, I guarantee you have a lot of friends following you. I should say followers, not necessarily friends, but they'll follow you all because you have money. So they're following Jesus because he's performed some miracles, and they believe there's something special about this guy. But I like the fact that it says he goes away with his disciples. He's trying to get away now with the disciples, but the people, they're still coming. A new group forms, and it says, when Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he said unto Philip, when shall we buy bread that these may eat? This is the observation. Jesus saw more than the numbers of people. He was sensitive to their need. Jesus saw more than the numbers of people because he was sensitive to their need. So in other words, even though Jesus is he's trying to get away, he's with his disciples and the crowd's following him, he still looks up and he sees them, and he's concerned about the fact that they're hungry. Are y'all with me with this? I think that's a very interesting observation, because some people will see you and they ignore you. Some people see you and they ignore you. They look at you and I need somebody. Deacon Meek, just stand up for a hot second. You know how, it's like you come into the sanctuary and hi, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? What? And he's like feeling some kind of way. Why don't you greet me? I'm right here. I need somebody to love on me, Thank you, Deacon Meekins. It's the same thing. Jesus, he's trying to take a break. He's with the disciples. These people are following him, but he's looking at them, but he sees that there's a need. Some people ignore you. Some people never look beyond what is in front of them. They see you, but they're not in tune with your need. Are y'all with me? Look at Jesus. He's a masterful teacher. Some people only look to see what they can get out of you. Can somebody relate to that? Some people only looking at you because they see what they want out of you and from you. But that's all. Jesus, no, he looks, but he sees their need. Some people, they think you never have a need or an issue. They just look at you and keep smiling. And you might be crying inside, you might be hurting, but they just keep looking at you. And you're probably saying, help me. I need help. I need prayer. I need some food. I need money. I need a job. I need somebody to listen to me. But if you just keep looking in life and never really zeroing in on people, that's an issue. Especially if we profess to know Jesus Christ. We want to make sure that we not just look at people just because they're here, their numbers, but look beyond that and see, is there a need? And that's what Jesus was able to do. And you know what? I'll tell you this. I know that Christianity, we have a slightly different theology than those who are of the Catholic faith. But there are several similarities, you must admit. And as I watched the Pope, and I don't know how many of you had a chance to watch the Pope at all, but I was moved by this because something he did said to me, this is a trait of Christ and how he would want us, God would want us to carry ourselves. And that is, the Pope, when he was in his Pope-mobile, isn't that a Pope-mobile? I'm trying, not Batmobile, Pope-mobile. In his Pope-mobile, out of all of the thousands, did you all see all the people that were there? Thousands, everywhere he went. And when he got to Madison Square Garden, before he could get there, I was like, wow, there are a lot of people here. Came from all over. Some of them couldn't even get through the screening process, but they were down there. I said, Lord, I wish people would come to church like that. But anyway, that's another sermon. But anyway, that's another time. Oh, God. But in spite of all of the people that were there was a little boy, I understand, a disabled boy. I believe he was a paraplegic. He gets out of his Pope-mobile somehow, and he makes contact with this family. See, that's looking. Now, out of all the masses of people, it made that family feel like he was looking just at them. See, that's Jesus. He's looking at the masses of people, but he sees the fact that there is a need. The people are hungry. Are y'all with me today? So that's just an observation. We'll give you a few points in a minute. Another observation, look at verse 6. And this he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. So Jesus raises that question, but he knew what he was going to do. In other words, Jesus strategized or purposely planned to minister not only to the crowd, but there's going to be a lesson for the disciples, and there'll be a lesson also for this little boy who has how many fish? 2 fish. And how many loaves of bread? 5. Verse number 7. It says, Philip answered him, well, we have 200 penny worth of bread. It's not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. So Philip is looking at the fact that you have only a small amount of food, and you got a lot of people. Look how much we don't have that much. And what the theologians and scholars have done is they looked at that and they say, well, this comes to about $28 because 100 pennyworth is considered $14. And so if you double that for 200, it's about $28. So he's saying, listen, we don't have enough to feed these people. But look who he's talking to. He's talking to Jesus. So there are some sermon takeaways from this, and we're going to look at verse 8 and 9. Let's look at verse 8 and 9. It says, one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said unto him, there is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fish. But what are they among so many? That's a very interesting question. What are they among so many? So here's another one. He's a disciple too, but I wonder if he forgot who he was talking to. This is Jesus, not just anybody. And so I wanted to give just a few sermon takeaways. Y'all with me for the first one? Y'all with me for the first one? Hello? Y'all with me? Okay. The first thing is never think less of what you possess. Never think less of what you possess. Sometimes others see your value more than you. Notice in the text here, it says one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said unto him, or unto Jesus, hey, Jesus, there's this little boy here, and I'm paraphrasing, which has 5 barley loaves. So it's obvious, now we got to give the disciple some credit. At least he saw, okay, the people are hungry, but there is a little boy here with some, he has something here. We need to consider that. So I would say, don't be deceived by the devil to think you have nothing worth sharing. Now, we're looking at this little boy with a fish sandwich, but I want you to also take that fish sandwich and translate it to anything that you have. You may have gifts. As a matter of fact, all of us have gifts. All of us have talents and abilities. God has given each of us something. Look at somebody and say, God has given you something as well. All of us have something. And very often, and especially for our youth, remember that you are valuable. You have something. You have something to use and offer, and you should never think less of what you possess. Everyone has a gift. Everyone has a talent or something that is considered valuable. Consider this: food and hunger. Okay? So, are the people hungry? Yes, they're hungry. But now there is some food here. It's a small amount, but there is some food, right? What I think is so powerful in this also is that God has a way of moving whenever there is a need. He designs an ability or resource to meet the need. So each of you here, each of us here, trust me, God has put something in each of us that the world needs. Somebody needs what God has given you. Some of you sitting here, you might be gifted musically. Like, okay, Professor, he's gifted musically. Sister Patterson, you're gifted musically. We know you play, you sing, you can direct, you can do all of that. How many of you have been blessed by the music ministry here at Messiah Baptist Church? God gave them the ability to do something, to use it, and we are blessed because God knew that we would have a need to worship God through the music ministry. So it is this little boy, he has he doesn't have a hamburger, even though I know you would like for him to have a hamburger. He doesn't have a BLT, but he has a little fish sandwich. Fish sandwich. Sandwich, that's what I think of. Fish sandwich. And in this fish sandwich, he has bread and he has fish, and it's not enough for all of these people. But never think less of what you possess. Tell somebody next to you, never think less of what you possess. Now, Philip, he should have known this. And the reason why I said he should have known that Jesus was able, because he was there when Jesus turned the water into wine at the wedding feast, and the wine did not run out. So he should have known that this Jesus is able to perform miracles. But let's see what happens. Let's go on to the next verse. Let's look at verse 11. Did I miss something?